So let's get to know our enemy. The importance of how you feel toward your enemy is reflected in the movie Searching for Bobby Fischer. When the teacher asked the chess student, "Do you know what it means to have contempt for your opponent?" No. It means to hate them. You have to hate them, Josh. They hate you. But I don't hate them. Well, you better start. So to win a game of chess, the advice is to have contempt for your opponent. But in trading, who really is the enemy? I'm sure you've heard that 90 to 95% of retail traders lose money. Where does all that money go? Most of the money goes to this guy. So who is he? He is the master of the financial universe. He has access to almost unlimited capital. The normal rules of lending and margin requirements don't apply to him. Let's just call him or them the insiders. Now, for the insider, it's all about the money. This is his highest value. His religion? Self. Morals? None. Crime? Pays. If there's a way to cheat you out of $1, he is going to do it. And all of this doesn't bother him because he thinks he's better than you. That's why it's okay to take your money, because he thinks he's smarter. What makes it even easier for him is that he's never going to have to look you in the face or talk to you on the phone. Hey, this sounds really unfair. Aren't there agencies, government agencies, to stop this person from engaging in this unethical behavior? Absolutely, there is. They are called SROs. And do you know what SRO stands for? Self-regulatory organization. What a joke that is. These institutions, believe it or not, regulate themselves. That's about as smart as getting the mafia to create a police force. Now, before you get too upset thinking about this guy, remember, we have to get to know him first to beat him. Let's look at his qualities here. He's arrogant, he's impatient, he's greedy, selfish, liar, a thief. This greedy, arrogant behavior is very predictable, and that's the good part. And this behavior is repeated over and over every day on price charts of all liquid financial markets that we can trade. Now, don't get fooled by the commercials and the propaganda that he is your friend and that he wants to help you. That's like the mob telling you that it's good to pay for protection. So how are we going to engage our opponent? To engage our opponent, we have to think like an Aikido master. Aikido is a Japanese martial art. One of the elements that define Aikido is that it's performed by blending with the motion of the attacker and redirecting the force of the attack rather than opposing the attack head on. So you can't fight the insiders head on. They will always be stronger than you from a financial point of view. They have very deep pockets. So what can we do? Aikido training emphasizes the ability to relax the mind and the body even under the stress of dangerous situations. This empowers the practitioner to meet an attack with confidence and directness. Remember we talked about how important it is to eliminate internal conflicts? How can you fight an opponent if you're fighting with yourself? If you have no internal conflict, then you can relax and engage your opponent. We also have to be bold. The founder of modern Aikido stated that one must be willing to receive 99% of an opponent's attack and stare death in the face in order to execute techniques without hesitation. The interesting aspect of Aikido is that it requires very little physical strength because you use the attacker's momentum, which is important to us as traders. We have to understand this concept. When it comes to trading, We have to relax in the face of an attack and then use the momentum of our opponent against him. Unfortunately, in the financial arena, our opponent is not going to be on the ground crying when we're finished. But what will happen is that he's going to make a little less money than he normally would, and we will make a lot more than most retail traders that don't know about this Aikido philosophy as it applies to trading. So as mentioned, we can't attack our opponent directly. He will always be stronger financially. We have to remember that this imbalance is always working against us and often leads retail traders to what's called gambler's ruin. Gambler's ruin is a concept that basically states that if you play a 50-50 game long enough, one side will win all the money and the other side will go bankrupt or have to quit. And the chances of going bankrupt are related to the amount of capital your opponent starts with and the amount of capital that you start with. Now, to illustrate, let's imagine you're flipping a coin and bet $1 per flip. You have $10 and your opponent has $100. At some point, your opponent will be down $10, but he can keep playing. You, on the other hand, if you lose $10 during the game, you're going to have to quit. Your opponent now has $110 and you have nothing. Therefore, the player starting out with the smallest amount of money has the greatest chance of going bankrupt. Even with equal odds, the longer you gamble, the greater the chance that the player starting out with the most money wins. Since casinos have more money than their individual patrons, this principle allows casinos to always come out ahead in the long run. This principle also applies to trading against the insiders. So when we approach the markets, we have to remember that this principle, gambler's ruin, is always working against us. And as we'll learn later, money management is really what will help you and save you from gambler's ruin. So with all this talk about gambling, are traders gambling? What is gambling? In the Gartley Trading Method book, I define it as placing a wager on an uncertain event with a monetary result in a short period of time. In this definition, I want to emphasize the word uncertain. I'll say it again. Placing a wager on an uncertain event with a monetary result in a short period of time. If someone goes to Vegas to play slots, it's called gambling. It is uncertain whether you're going to walk away with more than what you started with, but mathematically, if you play the machine long enough, you will give all your money to the casino. How about poker? The game of poker is called advantage gambling. Advantage gambling is not gambling in the traditional sense because a skilled poker player playing against unskilled players, the outcome is anything but certain. The skilled player will always win. There are many commonalities with Wall Street and the casinos. Do the casinos gamble themselves? No. Do the insiders of Wall Street gamble? No. Do most people that play in the casinos gamble? Yes, they do. Do most retail traders gamble? Yes. Is it possible to beat the casino? Absolutely, just as it is possible to make money trading. To beat the street, we don't have to look any farther than the tactics of the students of MIT that were featured in the movie 21. The important point about their blackjack strategy is that they didn't win every hand. Sometimes they would have losing days, weeks, or even months. However, over time, the system worked. So the MIT students playing blackjack, they have an edge over the casino. So if that was the case, are they really gambling? No, because remember that word? If the outcome is uncertain, that is gambling. But if you have an edge over the casino and you play long enough, the outcome is not uncertain. It is in their favor. But the rules at the casino and at Wall Street can change at any time. Why? Because remember the golden rule. He who has the gold makes the rules. So now it's time. It's time to engage our enemy. Where? The stock and futures exchanges of the world, or the interbank forex market, depending on what you're trading. Now let's talk about these casinos and the so-called free market forces that make the prices move up and down on our charts. So let's consider the next section entitled, What Moves the Markets?